Hi, my name is Mandy Morris, and this is my technology integration project about the Bossy R. Problem: the Bossy R rule. The previous way first grade taught the Bossy R rule at GAC didn't actively engage the students in the lesson. It was more or less just worksheets, practicing different words, nothing really fun and exciting that really got them engaged and collaborating with one another or utilizing the technology that we have available at our school. So this is a lesson that we will be working on this week, and so I thought it would be a great opportunity to take the time to integrate some more technology into our curriculum. My justification behind this lesson, I used the 4 C's. I felt that this lesson that I created really touched on all of the different 4 C's. Communication, it allows the students to share their thoughts and ideas with each other and to work on different solutions that they have for the problem. They really got to talk with each other about different answers they could find, different words that fit the categories that we were talking about. And they really helped one another when they were confused or when they couldn't think of an idea, so they just bounced ideas off of each other. And that kind of goes hand in hand with collaboration. We worked as a class to complete a interactive flip chart about the Bossy R. They worked in teams and they each took turns coming up to the board and helping complete the flip chart together as a class. So it wasn't just one person completing it by themselves, it was a whole group effort. And then it also incorporated critical thinking and creativity. Just the fact that we were not just doing worksheets, they were really having to think about what they were doing and really understand the concept and be able to explain to one another their reasoning. And then creatively, they got to use their iPads and they got to use technology and they got to record their voices over pictures of words that followed the Bossy R rules. So I thought this was a great lesson to incorporate all of the 4 C's. So basically my idea for this lesson was that I was going to teach the Bossy R rule to my students. And then once I did that, I would, using the 4 C's, I would use several different technological aspects to incorporate into my lesson. So for communication, we used an interactive flip chart, an iPad activity, and voice thread. The iPad activity being a scavenger hunt that we all went on as a class. Collaboration, you can see the same things there: flip chart, iPad activity, the scavenger hunt, critical thinking, the voice thread, because they really had to think about how they would use their Bossy R word in a sentence. They weren't just telling me what the Bossy R word was, they really had to understand what it means and be able to use it in a sentence. And then, of course, they were allowed to be creative because they could find any Bossy R word in the whole school to take a picture of to then use in the VoiceThread app. So when I implemented this lesson, I decided to use 3 students from my first grade class, 1 boy and 2 girls. I tried to cover a variety of ability levels. So one was high, one was medium high, and one was medium, just in their ability levels with reading. This lesson ended up taking a 2-day period for about 30 minutes each day. It ended up being a little bit longer than I was expecting, so that's why I had to stretch it into 2 different days because we didn't have time to complete it all at once. My lesson took place in my classroom, and then, of course, when we went on our scavenger hunt, that kind of took us all around the elementary school building. And what I used an online lesson plan that I projected on the board to initially introduce the concept of the Bossy R, and then it also had a bunch of practice questions that we used just to hit on exactly what the Bossy R was. And then at the end, with my 3 students, I individually tested them over different Bossy R words, and I gave them a sheet that they needed to read, and I kept a running record of which words they read successfully and which ones they did not read successfully. Then we followed that up with just a fun Bossy R video just to, make it a little more fun and give them a cute little tune to sing to remember exactly what the Bossy R does. After that, we had an interactive flip chart where the students were allowed to come up to the board to complete the flip chart as a class. So there were different words that they would have to fill in using the pen on the board, and they would have to write different words that followed the Bossy R rule. So they took turns doing that, and then so I was really able to see how they were doing with the concept. And then after that, we took our iPads and we went on a scavenger hunt through the elementary school building looking for objects that followed the Bossy R rule. And when they found an object, they were supposed to find one. And when they found it, they were supposed to take a picture of it. And then when we got back to the classroom, we used the VoiceThread app to create a presentation of basically a very short presentation of their picture, and then they used a voiceover to use that word that they took a picture of in a sentence. And here are my evaluation results. From the first assessment, that was what we did after my initial lesson that we did on the board when I gave them the list of words that they needed to read to me, and then I kept a running record of what they missed. Student 1 missed 0 words, student 2 missed 3, and student 3 missed 7 words. So that kind of gave me a good idea of where I needed to start and exactly which words that they had the most trouble with. I noticed that most of them had a lot of trouble with the 2-syllable Bossy R words. So the next time that I do this lesson, I'll definitely focus a little bit more heavily on that. They seem to get the easier 1-syllable words. And then, of course, I also evaluated as we were doing the flip chart, just kind of on the spot, glancing around the room and seeing whether they understood what they were doing. And then, of course, when they came to the board to participate in the flip chart, whenever it was their turn, I was able to see if they were getting the correct answers as well at that point. And then my final assessment was the VoiceThread project. All 3 students did correctly identify a Bossy R word somewhere in the school, and they all used it in a complete sentence. So they all did great with that. And here is a video of one of the voice threads that my students created.
I saw those flowers.
So that's just a quick example of how easy it can be to integrate technology into your curriculum. It took 10 seconds and it was not that difficult, and it's definitely something that a first grader can do on their own once you initially teach them how to use the app. So my lessons learned, there were definitely some pros and cons along the way. The pros were that I really liked how you were able to do kind of mini assessments along the way. It wasn't like you just taught the whole lesson and then at the very end you used the VoiceThread to determine whether or not they understood the concept. I had a bunch of little things along the way that really would allow teachers to have a good handle on whether or not students are grasping the concept. And then I also love the scavenger hunt and the VoiceThread just because those are fun, interactive things. I mean, when you tell first graders they're going on a scavenger hunt, they love it and think it's the best day ever. So I thought those were pros. Cons, I definitely thought that the lesson was a little bit long. So if you needed to only spend one day on it, you might have to cut some things out or not spend as much time on some things. So it ended up being a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I was able to stretch it into 2 days and make it work. And then another con was that After I went back and watched the voice thread, I realized that I probably should have had them spell the Bossy R word that they took a picture of, just because that would give me a better idea of whether or not they were able to differentiate between which vowel was in the word and not just that it was a Bossy R word. So the next time that I um, present this lesson, that's probably something that I will add to the voice thread presentation, just to give me a better idea and better results that they really understood the concept and the differences between all of the different Bossy R words. So that is my technology integration project on the Bossy R rule. Thank you for watching.